I'm Brita, the Questioning Quilter, and this is my second video in a series on disappearing blocks. We're going to make this quilt today. I call it Ring Around the Rosie, and it looks difficult with all these little triangles, but actually it's really easy. It's simply a variation of the Disappearing Hourglass made with 4 colors. Now, if it still seems a little intimidating, don't worry, I'm going to walk you through every step. We're going to start with this block, turn it into this block, which we're going to turn into this quilt. And if you also want a printed version of this pattern, it's available totally free to all of my newsletter subscribers. So let's get started. For this quilt, I chose 4 colors, a dark green and a light green for color combo 1, and a pink print and blue batik for color combo 2. We're going to turn these into half square triangles. You'd think that the green and green fabrics would go together and the pink and blue would go together, but they don't. Sew the pink and dark green together and the light green and dark blue. Then you're going to make these into half square triangles. You can do this any way you like. Just be sure that they measure 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. Now I mark down the center of the block, sew on either side of the line, cut the block, open them up, press and trim. I demonstrate this on my last video. Once the half square triangles are made, you're going to arrange these into an hourglass block. Just make sure that color combo 1, the light and dark green, are in the center of the block, and color combo 2, the pink and blue, are on the outside. Now sew and press this block. Once the hourglass is sewn together, it should measure 9 inch by 9 inch, and we are going to cut it into thirds. To do that, we're going to make our cuts 1.5 inches from the center seam. Since we're going to be making a lot of these blocks, it's helpful to put a piece of tape on your ruler at the 1.5 inch mark. This helps prevent miscuts. Trust me on this. So line up your ruler with the tape on the center seam and cut. Turn them at 90 degrees, line it up again, and cut again. We're going to do this 2 more times for a total of 4 cuts, which will make 9 sub blocks, each measuring 3 inches by 3 inches. Now, once all of the cuts are made, we are going to sort the pieces by design and color before rearranging them. Now, unlike some disappearing blocks, which just have a few of the pieces rotated, this one is actually built from scratch. So notice that we have 2 pink squares with 1 dark green corner. We have 2 squares that look kind of like tents with the dark green on the left-hand side, 2 blue squares with a light green corner, and 2 tents that have dark on the right-hand side, and 1 4 patch. Now make sure that you have all these pieces lined up and sorted. Organization is the key. You will have 2 of everything except for 1 4 patch. Start with the 4 patch in the upper left corner. Make sure that the dark squares are to the upper left and lower right. Take the first of the 2 tent-shaped pieces with the dark to the left, rotate it 180 degrees and put it under the 4 patch, making sure that the dark green fabrics touch and the light green fabrics touch. Take the second tent piece, leave it right side up, and put it directly under the first tent so that there's a little pinwheel in the middle. Now, take one of the tent pieces that has the dark green fabric to the right. Rotate it 90 degrees clockwise and put it next to the 4 patch. Take the last tent piece, rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise, and place it next to the first, making a pinwheel where they meet. Next, take one of the 2 blue batik pieces with the light green corner and put it in what will be the center of the block. Make sure the light green corner is in the upper left. Put the second blue square diagonal from the first with the light green triangle to the bottom right. Notice that the 2 triangles are pointed in opposite directions. Finally, place the 2 pink squares diagonally opposite each other with the triangles pointed to the lower left and the upper right. Notice that the center area looks like a 4 patch with little triangles in all 4 corners. Make note of this layout. See how the lines are, and be sure that your block looks like this. Because this is kind of a complicated block, it might be easier to start by assembly line or spiderweb sewing the rows. I demonstrated how to do this in my last video, and the link is below. Then you can use this as a template so that when you cut up the rest of your hourglass blocks, you don't have to recreate the pattern from scratch. You just stack up the pieces as you cut them out, just putting like pieces on top of each other so that they won't get mixed up. Now that all the blocks are made, it's time to turn them into a quilt. Now, one of the things that I absolutely love about these disappearing quilts is that even if you have an individual block that doesn't look like much of anything, once you start putting them together, you can get these amazing secondary patterns. For example, in this case, we're just going to arrange the blocks so that the blue square with the green triangles are all going together in the center. And when you do that, you get this beautiful flower motif. Now, doesn't stop there. If you put together 4 of these flower motifs, you're going to get an extra design, kind of like a secondary pattern. There's no rearranging to be done. The blocks just go straight. And because of the design in the 4 corners, we get the star motif in the center. And as you build this quilt out, what you'll see is you're going to have alternating flower motifs and star motifs. And the whole quilt goes together just like that. And the quilt is complete. Now, you could make this quilt just using 2 colors instead of 4, but I think that having these motifs being in different colors makes them stand out more, and it makes it a more interesting quilt. Now, I have literally hundreds of these designs, so if you want me to keep making these videos, please like, subscribe, leave me a comment below, and most importantly, share this video with everyone that you know. Now, if you want a printed version of this pattern, just sign up for my newsletter. Go to any page on my website, questioningquilter.com, and sign up for my newsletter, and every issue there will be a new free pattern. Thank you so much for watching. Stay well and happy quilting.